Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about the Braxtons Season 1, Episode 1.
Listen here, if y'all used to watch the Braxtons back in the day, y'all knew it was a different title. And now this is a whole new cast because R.I.P. Tracy.
Yeah, R.I.P. Tracy.
And guess what? I'm excited that they are back. Not because of the occasion, but we actually get to see how real sisters interact compared to the Kardashians that we are never going to cover ever again on this channel. But at the same time, watch it since we already did it.
Okay.
It's in the playlist. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right. So we are starting off. This is 2 days before grief counseling.
Yeah.
So Trina is cooking, talking to her husband. They have been married for almost 5 years at this point. They have a blended family. And we see some flashbacks of the wedding back to when Tracy fell when she was trying to carry Trina's dress down the aisle.
Yeah.
Trina says that the family hasn't done any really work together. They haven't all come together since Tracy's passing, like since the funeral or homegoing service. No one really wanted to address the passing and talk about it directly. The sisters were not leaning on each other. Everybody was grieving in their own individual ways.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask some tough questions during this episode. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they like each other?
I think it's complicated.
Like most families?
Like most families.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe with more information, I give an answer. But that's a question I want y'all to think about. Do they like each other? I don't think they hate each other. But I think there is attributes of each other in each sister that is not disliked. I mean, that is disliked by everybody.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
So Toni's in town, so they're all going to get together for dinner.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about Tracy and the possibility of grief counseling.
Okay.
So Trina says that it's important for us to stay in touch with Kevin, little Kevin, which is Tracy's son, her only child. He, just because he lost his mom, it doesn't mean that he's alone. He's not speaking to his dad often, but you know, the dad, he's going through his own grief process by losing his wife. Yeah. With the loss of pretty much both of his parents, Kevin is dealing with a lot right now.
It is a lot to deal with grief, I'm telling you. I was wondering while watching this, why don't he talk to his father? What is the relationship there with his father? Is it because you know how men are, to where sometimes where you're grown, you get what I'm saying, he's out the house, it's probably out of sight, out of mind. But it's one of those things to where everybody's dealing it with their own way, and I don't know if it's healthy, and maybe it may actually come back to bite everybody in the behind because everybody's not dealing with it together. Even though it affected everybody at the same time in different ways, and everybody is family, it just seems like it's something that we know about, but something that we're not saying out loud. Something that, like, you know, once the funeral was over, we all went to our separate corners and we just dealing with however we want to deal with. What is your thoughts so far in this first scene?
My thoughts is that people are just trying to work through it the best that they can. Yeah. And I think that's probably why it is a good thing for them to go to counseling. So maybe they can learn some tools of how to deal with things healthier and maybe learn on how to lean on each other. Yeah. Because I'll be honest, like, this is a hard situation. If I was in the situation, I would probably do the same thing. Like, I'm the type who likes to isolate when I'm going through stuff, and that's probably not the healthiest way. But I think, like I said, that's why you have a counselor, somebody to help guide you through it, because it can be a lot easier and more comfortable just to deal with it by yourself and not try to have to talk to somebody or try to figure out how they feel and put that into consideration. Like, you kind of just want to be in your own world at times. I don't fault them for it, but like you said, there might be a better way. So
in the comments, let me know how y'all handle grief.
Yeah.
Let me know if y'all isolate like Blair. Do y'all lean more on your family? Do you lean on your friends and things of that nature? Or do you just kind of sweep it under the rug? Once the funeral's over, once the body's in the ground, it just next day I'm at work. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
So we get to the dinner.
Yeah.
Toni is preparing to do a variety show with Cedric the Entertainer. She's a little bit nervous because she had a Vegas show years ago. Around that time is when she was diagnosed with lupus, and she was told that she probably wouldn't be able to perform again. Yeah. But, you know, thank goodness she's been able to perform and move forward from that. But this most recent time, she had to have a stent placed in her heart, and she hasn't really shared the nitty-gritty details with the family about what all it entailed. But with the brink of Tracy coming up, like everything that's going on with Tracy, this being I think they said the second year reunion or anniversary of her death.
I think so.
She doesn't want to kind of get people worried or riled up. She honestly doesn't want to bring it up, but she knows that she needs to tell them.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering, like, what's going on? Like, why people keeping secrets amongst the brethren, amongst the siblings and things of that nature? It made me go like, what is y'all relationship? But let's continue.
So Trina is feeling like she is pretty much Toni is feeling like she's pretty much single. She's not engaged anymore. She's happy, but not in the place for a relationship right now. And like a lot of us know, she was engaged to Birdman.
Well, that's usually what happens. You get what I'm saying? I don't know how Birdman is outside of the rap persona that he has, but I tell you this, I was surprised she was with him.
I was surprised too.
You get what I'm saying?
I was surprised to learn that.
You know?
So Towanda walks in late, and she's wearing the same dress as Trina, and that was pretty funny to see. And that's the thing that I like about the Braxtons is there's always humor infused in the show. Like they, you know, of course have their family struggles and all that, but they're also just a genuinely like fun group of ladies, you know? So that was like a funny kind of moment that added some levity. So they talk about when Tracy found out she had cancer. Toni felt helpless because she couldn't protect her. As the big sister, she wants to protect all of her sisters. But it was especially hard to deal with because she considers herself the sick one, not Tracy. Yeah. And I can imagine that would be hard to think about. It's just like, I'm the person that has to deal with the hard stuff. Like, you know, I can do it because I can handle it or whatever the case may be. But to find out your sister is dealing with something life threatening as somebody who already deals with something that's pretty much life threatening. Like, I know that was probably just kind of like a head spinning moment of just like, it wasn't supposed to be her type of thing. So Tamar says that we need to do some grief management or grief counseling. Evelyn thinks that Trina needs it especially because she was there when Tracy took her last breath.
Yes.
So Tracy all gave them hummingbird necklaces so they could take her wherever they go. Trina says the only time she takes it off is when she is having some intimate time with her husband. Okay. So they asked how little Kevin's doing, and apparently he's going through a divorce. Yeah. Tamar is surprised because she goes out to eat with him. She talks to him all the time. So he never shared that with her. So she was surprised to learn that.
That is interesting. How do I spend time with you and you never bring that up? That's the one thing about family that I'm sure everybody can relate to, that you have things and you have family members that won't share their life with you, but they will break bread with you. And you will leave that luncheon, you will leave that dinner, you will leave that whole interaction and then hear from cousin or hear from someone outside the family that, did you know so-and-so is, you're like, who's going through divorce? I just had lunch with him. I just had dinner with her and things like that. That's why I asked the question. And the hard question, the question that probably make us uncomfortable, is this a season where we will see them come together because they want to? Or is this we have a storyline, we actually got some money, we doing it for Tracy, yes, but at the same time, once the storyline is not the storyline, will we still be together outside of the show? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Toni shares the news that she went to the doctor, and apparently they caught her heart attack they caught it just before she had a heart attack, and they were saying that if you would have had a heart attack, you would not have survived. Wow. And they told her, like, when she was there, that you should not even be alive today. So Evelyn has always known that Toni's health was serious, and she worries that if Tracy can leave so early, if maybe Toni's thinking the same thing too. Yeah. Well, Toni said that she was told that even with the stent, she may eventually need bypass surgery because like she said, if she has a heart attack, she most likely won't survive. She was told that she may not be able to tour again, and she's crying because she's thinking about her boys, like who's going to be the mother to her children, and the fear of leaving them. She's afraid every day, like if she's having heartburn, if she's having a heart attack, and it's just really different from the time in Vegas when they told her she had lupus and she couldn't perform, versus now telling her she probably couldn't perform because she might have a heart attack. So yeah, that's really scary.
Yeah.
So everybody just kind of gathers around her and is speaking life into her and telling her to, like, you know, command the fear to leave her and it will leave her. And that's another thing, is like they are a very like Christian family, and they really like pour the word over each other when it comes to these serious moments as well. It's something that I like to see. So Toni wanted to do the Braxtons again, mostly because Tracy wanted them to do it.
Yeah.
And Tracy wanted them to talk about her cancer so that it might help somebody out there who's going through a similar situation.
And that's the question why I asked. That's why I asked the question. Once it's not about Tracy no more, once Tracy's mission is complete, will we see more of the Braxtons together, or will they disperse back into their own corners, into their own life and things like that? So, Tamar is such a name that we kind of forget outside of the last name. Tamar is Tamar. You get what I'm saying? When I think of Tamar, I don't think of Toni Braxton, and maybe that is a great thing that Tamar finally is out of the little sister role of her big sisters and things like that. But I wonder, once this mission is over, and I think it's a great mission. I'm not criticizing the mission. I'm really criticizing or questioning the intent. Once the mission is over, of okay, we did what Tracy wanted us to do. We filmed together. We brought back the show. Okay, will our relationship, the ones that are living,
so what do you think?
Be strong? I don't know. I will give my opinion once we get to that point.
Okay.
But I'm saying, as I said it twice, right? But the question is, I don't know if they will stay together, right, once the mission is complete.
Okay. So Towanda and Trina meet up for lunch. This is the day before grief counseling.
Yeah.
Towanda shares that she was getting messages from people thinking she was sick because she cut all her hair off. It was actually a pact that all the sisters were supposed to do, but Towanda was the only one who did it. But she also shares that she has alopecia. Then they show flashbacks of when Tracy was sick. She was rubbing Tawanda's hair.
Yeah.
And she also cut off her hair because Tracy said that that's something that she should do. So Trina is saying that she has little Kevin on her mind. So they decide to FaceTime him just to check in to see how he's doing. They're, wanting to stay in communication with him. They ask, he says he's been doing good, and apparently his wife did his hair the day before. And he says that she doesn't know if she wants to be married or divorced. They think that the death of Tracy has had an effect on his marriage.
Of course.
So Towanda shares that, they're all going to go to grief counseling, and asks if he would want to be a part of that. And he says that he would, like, especially during like Christmas, the holidays is when it really hit him that his mom wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he thinks that it could be helpful to talk to somebody.
Nice. I like that. Let's keep going.
So everyone goes to Toni's house for the grief counseling. They are making some of Tracy's favorite foods. Tamar says that she's kind of been to every type of counselor, so she's more of a support here for everybody else. And I kind of took that, the first time I heard it, I was just kind of like, okay, but like, you lost a sister too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should partake just as much as everybody else. But then I was thinking, like, maybe as things go on, maybe this is kind of what the family does. They kind of avoid stuff.
I mean, listen here. This is not the first time we've seen this group of family doing counseling on TV.
Yeah.
We seen it.
Yeah.
And we about to get to the part to where I question, can they get along without the mama being there?
So Tamar asked, where did Spirit come from? So Spirit is the counselor. Trina has known her for a lot of years. Apparently she first started talking to Spirit when her ex-husband Gabe passed away. And she got divorced from him, but shortly after the divorce he was diagnosed with cancer and he passed away at 43 years old.
Yeah.
But it was still really hard for her and for the children that he raised as his own.
Yeah.
So they start the counseling session with Spirit. They have their dad there on video as well as little Kevin.
Okay.
So Spirit says that grief looks different for everyone, and we start grieving one thing, but then it can pull from different other areas of our lives into other things that we end up grieving as well. And she's just asking everybody like how they're feeling and, you know, what is something they want to accomplish today. So Trina just asked not to go first because she's not ready to say how she feels.
Stop right there. Did you thought that was interesting?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you don't want to go first, don't say nothing.
Yeah.
But I think this is how I feel. And this is me basically going off of the first episode. So don't keep your tomatoes for at least episode 3. Right? I think, as we know, when it comes to siblings, if you have multiple siblings, there's a chain of command. Right? There's a pecking order. I think Toni's number 1. Right? Towanda may be number 2. I think Tamar has moved herself up to number 3, and I think Trina is now number 4, right? I don't think that was always the case, but now, based on the celebrity, based on things that's going on, I think Trina is basically the one that just said, hey, I don't want to go first, because I think eventually the silence would have been like, what, Trina? Since you was the one that seen her, you know, kind of passing the buck. Like, since you was the one that seen her last breath, this is particularly for you.
And they also said, like, because you brought Spirit here, like, you want to start it or whatever.
Exactly. It's almost as if, like, well, you put her on us. You get what I'm saying? Besides embracing the whole experience of talking freely, I'm in front of my sisters. I'm in front of my mama. I'm in front of the TV screens that got my daddy on there and things of that nature. Do you think that potentially they should have went with somebody that nobody knew?
No, I feel like it would have had the same outcome.
Okay.
Yeah,
True.
I think everybody would have just kind of been staring at each other in silence, trying to see who would speak up first.
You're right.
Because it's a very sensitive, uncomfortable topic.
Yeah.
And this family already has issues to where they've been to family counseling multiple times.
Yeah.
So,
You're right.
Yeah. But Toni shares that, you know, we were all nervous, and the fact of the matter is, like, they're not great communicators. Toni says that she has no idea what to expect when it comes to the grief counseling. Spirit asks, well, how can I help you? She wants this to be a no judgment zone for them. And she says, I can't help if you guys don't know what you want to talk about as the real problems.
That is very, very true. Now, let me answer the question that you asked me twice that I wanted to wait till they get to the end of the video to get the answer. Right?
Finally.
Well, it's not finally. Listen here. You doing your job, I'm doing my job. Okay?
Right.
No, I do not think they will be together after the show.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think, for one, I don't think the sisters can come together without the mother being there. Many times than not, I think the mother at this age is usually a person that comes along and actually becomes a sister and things like that. Like, oh, yeah, I'm hanging out with my daughters. We all basically sisters and things like that. But Evelyn is really the rock that really holds them together.
Absolutely.
And I'm not gonna say it's a shame that even now at everybody's big age that like the mother still gotta hold them together, but we seen things, we seen videos, we seen them on other shows or other shows that have to deal with counseling where Evelyn have to gather her grown daughters to basically react like adults.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? At an age where all of them is over 35, 40. You know, so my biggest concern is, can they do this without their mother being there? Because, of course, when it comes to death, like, Tracy wasn't supposed to go if we was to go with the order of how life's supposed to happen. If y'all acting this way once Tracy goes, or once Tracy went, God help y'all when it's time for Miss Evelyn to go. And that's what really happens when it comes to death, because what can be shaken will be shaken.
And that happens in a lot of families.
Yes.
Not that it's like, you know, a good thing, but it's very common.
Yes.
And I can see that happening to them too.
Yes. Yeah. So I think like them coming together is I think Miss Evelyn play a big part in that.
Oh yeah.
But my thing about it is Mama's not gonna be there forever. And I'm like, if y'all little sister can cause this much to make y'all silent in y'all grief, to make y'all isolate in your grief, to make y'all kind of handle it in your own way. Tamar's like, yeah, I'm kind of here for y'all. You get what I'm saying? I've been to all types of counseling to make people not confront that demon in front of them. Boy, y'all gonna have a time when mama go.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have a time when daddy go. You get what I'm saying? Y'all may not talk again. And I'm saying this is now the time, and actually the platform when it comes to your grief counselor, to actually put everything out on the table, no matter how ugly. And truth be told, when grief comes, I wonder, do anybody blame anybody during this time? This is the time to say it. Because grief has that effect to where you actually start to blame other people, yourself. You get what I'm saying? And then on top of that, y'all lived your lives, at least a part of your lives, on the public platform. So you got other outside voices coming in. And I think they should really take advantage of this opportunity of them dealing with grief 2 years after the fact. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't think that anybody is dealing with it in a healthy way right now.
Yeah.
And I would hope that they take the opportunity of the grief counselor, even if they don't necessarily want to come right out and say how they feel, but just kind of ask some questions of, how should I be dealing with this? This is what I've been doing so far. Like, is there a different perspective you can give me on this? I haven't talked to my sister since the funeral. Like, is that normal? You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you don't want to come right out and just say what all you're feeling and the stress and everything you've been going through, like, just try to get like inquisitive about it to see if that can even open you up to more conversation. But just everybody in a deadlock, not wanting to talk, like, I'm just like, you're wasting your time as well as this lady's time. Y'all could have just got together and ate and drank some wine or whatever. Y'all didn't have to bring this lady out here. So that's my only thing. And I think it's like a fork in the road is where we're at right now. In that if they take the opportunity to learn the tools to handle things better and to maybe come together and repair some of those relationships, because I think the relationships are damaged. I think probably when Tracy was going through her things, I think that people or certain members might feel like you didn't do enough or you weren't there enough, or, you know, you didn't show up in the way that we thought you would. Like, there's a lot that goes into it beyond the person passed. It's all the stuff leading up to it and how everybody was participating or not can also be another factor of, I don't want to talk to them anymore because they weren't for Tracy in the way that I thought they weren't there for Tracy in the way that I thought they would be. And that can be like anger and resentment that gets built up as well. So I'll just say, I hope they take this opportunity so that way they can come to some type of understanding to continue on in their sister bond, because they have a good bond at the end of the day, but life and situations and how people react to things can definitely split you up. So and throughout the series, I'm going to share with y'all personal stories of how I deal with grief and things like that. I feel like I don't want to give it all in one episode, especially when I seen previews of Trina yelling of, let me drink. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, oh yeah. We gonna open this box and things like that. And you're talking to somebody who lost a parent in every decade. Yes, I have two parents. I lost them in my preteens, and I lost them in my 20s. You get what I'm saying? So I can talk about grief and the toxic and the positive ways that I dealt with it, and even all of them. Because at the end of the day, you're going to feel all of them. You're going to feel every single one of them. I felt blame. I felt guilt. I felt anger. I felt relief. Now that's that's a tricky one. Yeah. Because that's probably something you don't want to feel.
You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of things, a lot of tricky emotions.
Or things you feel you shouldn't be feeling.
And I could tell that Trina probably felt relief. You get what I'm saying? If she's the one taking care of her, around her most of the time and things like that, we will unpack those as this season goes on. As I can tell, this is going to be a season about Tracy, and I like that they dedicated the season to her. So we go really pack. I'm going to really show y'all some things when it comes to grief and things of that nature. Also, I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know how y'all deal with grief. Be it a friend. I lost friends at a young age. Dealing with family. Dealing with anybody. Let me know how y'all deal with grief. If y'all want to share. If y'all don't want to share, I'm going to ask y'all again in episode 2. And maybe by the time we get to episode 10, maybe you share a story of yours or of somebody's. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Y'all be good.
Bye-bye.